Hello and welcome to this week's Gems of War Guild Event Planner. I'm Guardian Namek, Guild Leader of Loot and Plunder. This week's focus is the Tower of Doom, and we'll be using red troops this week. After running some numbers, here are the teams you want to use. As this is the Doom week, we get to use the entirety of red, and as such, there are a lot of options to choose from. I'm doing a slightly different format where we are going to cover 5 different teams, and we're going to talk about the 5 best ones that I have in my system. The first is going to be good old-fashioned Tesla, as she gets to do some great damage, scales perfectly, and basically you'll be two-shotting the entire team at every level because it just scales so well. Then we have the Catarari King, as he gets to do a lot of damage and then create a bunch of wild cards, which usually charges him up. However, if it doesn't, that's why the rest of the team is there. We also have Salamandria and the Immortal Empyrean, as they both thrive burning gems as well as true damage. Unfortunately, the best uses or best creators of burning gems are not available this week, but the Fire Beetle is still decent. Not amazing, not like the convert a color to burning gems, but still good enough to be able to put burning gems out on the field. And then for the 5th of the top 5, we have King Helidor, as he does true damage to the enemy and then boosted by a bunch of different things and creates 3 elemental stars. That's the key thing, is that extra elemental stars. You do some solid damage, you charge yourself up again. As it is also color, I figured I would actually cover the Guardians for the week. We have Courage and Ferocity. Courage is going to be your mana generator and buffer if chosen. These are older characters that may find a use if you're like, ooh, something. The Ferocity, on the other hand, is actually fairly solid. It's one of the newer Guardians, and they get to do damage twice, boosted by his stats. And honestly, it's not a bad troop, especially with the expensive 3rd trait, as it can really boost up all Taurus allies and end up hitting really hard. But those days are kind of over. You can still use them, but there isn't necessarily a team for them. Now, on to the actual teams for the week. First team is going to be Of the Kingdom, which is going to be Cinemajar this week, which Cinemajar kind of sucks. There are no good units. I think the only 2 good ones are mostly not red. But the Broker of Greed is decent. They get to explode a few gems, gives you a little bit of mana, not too much. But if you have a way of getting gold consistently, he can really super buff an ally and make it so that they do more damage, at least hopefully. The Symbol of Lust gets to explode a gem and then boosted by Daemon allies. That can help keep the mana going, but that is it. That is it for Cinemajar. The Soldier of Wrath is a really good one. Nice, simple, does true damage. All the other damage dealers that are red, they just do normal damage, and then maybe an extra effect, so Soldier of Wrath is going to be your best bet. They also are really good for the bounty hunting event, as they do true damage. Now, this is the team that I do plan on using. Carnex, Tesla, Immortal Titanus, and then the Doom weapon for the week. Carnex will keep us charged. Tesla, as I said before, does amazing scaling damage. And Immortal Titanus is basically overflow and any brown. And he gets to do a whole lot of damage, and then also destroys 3 random columns, so he gets to give some more mana. Now, a team based around the Catarari King will be the Centigorgon, and then King Equestus, I'm going to say, because When he gets a kill, all allies gain 50% of their mana, but also the more important thing, on 4 and 5 ways, or 4 more ways, all Centaur allies gain 1 life. And magic, which means the Catarrheri King gets to do a lot more damage. If you don't have any of those, but still want to use a Centaur-related team, you can use things like Boltorus or the Catarrheri Warrior. The Catarrheri Warrior is very similar to the Catarrheri King, except for it is only 3 or 4, I want to say, wild cards. So it's a little less, but a little cheaper and a little less damage. So it's a weaker, but still solid version of the Catarrheri King. And Boltorus is just a nice staple. He's quite nice and simple for Centaur, though you'll probably want to put him, if you're going to use him, use a healer on the team, so that way he can buff up Boltorus's health, so Boltorus can do more damage. And then, as I talked about earlier, the Salamandria and Immortal Pyrrhion team with a Fire Beetle or the Goblin that turns green to burning. There's a few other Burning Gem units that you can utilize as the third. You can also use Pyagra if you don't care for Burning Gems and just care for the mana generation. You can also switch out Immortal Empyrean for Pyagra. Maybe you don't have Immortal Empyrean. Extra mana doesn't hurt. But Salamandra, as we used 2 weeks before, if you had her. If you didn't, that's alright. She is mythic. It's understandable. Her passive is great for if you can get 4 and 5 ways. And then she just gets to do a ton of burning damage. And then on top of that, the Immortal Pyrrhion gets to do also a bunch of true damage, boosted by Burning Gems at a very familiar rate. And then if you do a lot of PvP and got him up to trait 3, which I have no idea how much that takes, I don't do PvP, he gets to create 2 Burning Gems on his turn, which is pretty great for this team. I do not have them up there. And the final team, with King Heliodor, there aren't too many great options if you plan on doing a Nexus build for King Heliodor. He's also just generally a decent mana-gen, just for the fact that he does true damage, and then gets to make a few elemental stars, which get you a lot of mana. You can also do a similar thing with the Lightborn Enchantress, but they are just Umbral stars, so slightly weaker. But the team would be King Heliodor, Emberclaw, the Enchantress. Emberclaw also gets to do true damage, and he gets to explode a row, which is very effective for mana generation. He also gets to convert a purple gem to an elemental star, which is basically like every turn you're going to get a good amount of mana automatically. And then the one thing all these builds have in common is the Doomed Flamberge, because that is the weapon of the week, and make sure you're using it, as you will be getting double the points for your guild. You do need to get it through the guild event shop. I hope this info was helpful for both starting and veteran players of Gems of War. If it was helpful to you, give that subscribe button a click, as I plan on doing these every Monday, both to help my guild and for fun. Until next week, have fun plundering.